Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf, and you're listening to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and on the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Dracula.
Hey now, everybody. How's it going?
Hello, Drac. How are things going over in Barovia?
Have had the slight start of the Barovian flu again, so...
Oh, is that why you summoned Patrick here, to help heal you?
Yes. Maybe.
You want me to heal? That's not what I do.
Well, you're not a cleric?
Doesn't matter if there's a cleric symbol or not. Doesn't mean you heal.
Ouch.
Healing was not in this contract. That costs extra.
Oh, well. Very well. Then we'll just have to take you to report on what you know in DDO.
I can work with that.
Then let's start out with the game news, and we'll begin with the Curse of Strahd Raid, where I've heard rumor that a bug or two has entered into that too.
Well, it depends what you call a bug.
Yeah.
They've called it a bug, so let's call it a bug.
Yeah, with the last update, it seems like Strahd has decided... Every time he summons a mist, he also heals himself back to full hit points.
Which is really aggravating.
Which I can imagine. And we're going to talk about the raid later on. Patrick's going to go over the raid because he's done it several times. But yeah, so it's a little harder than it should be. So that is going to be addressed. Torque over on the forum said, "We have looked into your reports that Strahd is resetting his health too frequently during a section of the raid, and we are working on a fix currently targeted for next week. In the meantime, groups can still beat the raid if they manage Strahd's health carefully. The problematic attack won't fire if he's above 95% or below 20%, and has a 40 to 60 second warm-up timer. This gives you a window to burst down 75% of his health to avoid the attack."
Which we've actually done successfully several times, but the day after the patch when this cropped up, we were in the raid on hard, and we probably tried for about 30 minutes to try to figure out what was going on, figure out if there was something we needed to do, and we kind of ran out of ideas, like, all right, well, this is not good.
All right. Now, when they say next week, they mean this week, because that was posted last week?
Yes, that was posted last week, so maybe this week?
All right.
See.
But now, Cordovan said something that the possibility of the Baba Zaga raid coming this week?
Yes, and the Baba Saga raid, of course, is the second raid that is coming with Ravenloft that we knew about. And yes, Cordovan did post, there was a question over on the forums. Somebody asked, "Hey, what's up with the Baba Saga raid? When is the planned release for it?" And Cordovan posted today, as a matter of fact. He said, "Stay tuned. There's a possibility it's this week." So I would assume if they have downtime to implement that raid, they will also have a fix for the Strahd raid and any other fixes that they want to do at the same time. It would make sense to do all that during one downtime. So I guess stay tuned.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
They do want to get those things done this week because I presume that they are shut down next week.
I would assume so, yes. So get it in while the getting's good, as they say.
Their normal pattern does seem to indicate that they have at least a week off run, probably between Christmas and New Year's. So.
Then let's head to the Heroic Barovian Vendor NPC. Now, is this the guy that is the one who gives you that free weapon?
He is, and he's the guy that was giving you, at level 10, was giving you a ML28 weapon. And they put a fix in to address that. They decided, hey, you know what? We're just going to reset him for everybody. So just go talk to him again, and he'll give you the right level weapon. And not so much. It didn't work. There was an issue with that. So Cordovan posted over on the forums, this should not be an issue going forward. So they do have it fixed for if you're a brand new character and have not spoken to him, you will get the correct level weapon. If you have a character that was affected by it, you will need to get in touch with customer service, and support can actually get you the right level weapon. So their in-game fix they tried to do didn't work, but they do have customer service aware of it, so they can get you the weapon of your choice. Basically, I think what they can do is they can go on and look to see that you're flagged on the quest and you've talked to him, you've got a reward. They, I'm guessing, can see it was the wrong level, so just, don't try to sneak and get a free weapon, folks. I'm pretty sure they can check. Because there'd be one person that's like, hey, free weapon. Just saying.
I mean, the weapons aren't really that game-breaking, so...
Well, true, but, there's always one.
Very well. Then let's have our discussion of Ravenloft in general. This is our initial thoughts. We are going to have a full review probably at some later time after Drac and I have had a chance to actually finish it.
Correct. And as I did say, later on in the show, we're going to talk to Patrick about Sentient Weapons and the raid, but this is just kind of just a quick, overview look, like you said. So what do we think? What's our first impressions and our thoughts? We can start with, how about Pineleaf? You go first.
So far, I've only gotten through 3 of the quests because I've done Into the Mist, which of course is what you do in order to get the whole thing started. I've done Death House, which is extremely well done. I've done the Bone Grinder or something like that. So I've done that one. That's
Baked Dreams.
Fresh Baked Dreams, yes. Baked Dreams. And that seems to be very well done. And Invitation to Dinner, which I think they need to work on a couple of things on that one. We'll probably discuss that in a little bit more detail later on. But let's just say that it was, when they said very long, I was expecting something to be about I wasn't expecting something Temple of Elemental Evil linked along.
Well, normally that quest is not that long.
Okay.
Yeah, like I said, we'll talk about that later.
But so far, this seems to be well done, and based on stuff that I've heard secondhand, meaning from you, that it seems to be following the Curse of Strahd fairly well, so that it's a good representation of the dungeon, and it's a chance to go into some, into some real D&D type action when I don't currently have a group.
So how about you, Patrick?
I'm really enjoying it. I would say it's going to depend a little bit on what kind of things you like. There's most of the quests actually seem to have kind of a randomness to them. Like parts of them are here and like you have to go to different spots to find different things, but they end up in different locations. Some of them, they help you find them with Madame Ava and giving you cards to kind of tell you where to go. And some of them, you don't. So if you get lost, you might find yourself somewhat frustrated with some of these quests because you can run around like forever. But I think it also kind of gives it a nice pen and paper dungeon crawl kind of feel. So it's not too bad in that sense. I kind of enjoy that. It definitely has a horror feel to it, which I was kind of expecting, but not. I mean, I haven't played Ravenloft in pen and paper either, so I would say my best advice for people who are kind of new to the content, read the dialogue. I know reading, but they mostly tell you where to go. And there are, particularly like if you're in Castle Ravenloft, the quest objectives actually tell you where to go. And people have kind of given me a hard time when they ask, I'm in this quest, where do I go? And my response is, read the quest objectives. And they get upset at me. It's like, but I don't know where you're supposed to go. The quest objectives know where you're supposed to go. What are you getting mad at me for? So,
can't you read? It's right there. Yeah.
I mean, reading is helpful. I mean, even the quest givers tell you where to go. So, you can save yourself a little bit of trouble and frustration if you slow down a little bit and read it, which, it's worth doing too because it gives you more of the story points. But yeah, the content's been enjoyable.
Yeah, I would agree from what I have done as well. Yeah, I think they did a great job. The horror element of, I think, Ravenloft and Barovia is there. They captured that perfectly. I do got to give props to the music. The music is amazing.
The new stuff. They reused some of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, but the new music is it's got just enough of like the gypsy type Romanian feel to it that it doesn't really like beat you over the head with it. It's just slightly there, and you're like, oh yeah. And then they use the music well in Quest as well too, I think. And as Pineleaf said, yes, they have followed the Curse of Strahd 5e book fairly well. There's a couple of changes here and there, but that makes sense because they're taking a pen and paper and they're going to video games. So you can't really translate it exactly. You kind of have to add some video gameness, we'll say, to it. But I think what they've done is great. I love the quest. I like all the DM work that I've heard so far. So they did really good job on that. And I will kind of follow up with what Patrick said too about reading the quest text. Pay attention to what the DM says too, because there was a couple of quests where I was like confused, and then I like scrolled back to see what the DM said, and I'm like, oh, I missed that. I didn't know that they said that. That makes sense now. So that's like another thing too. I know some people either like to turn the DM off completely or just kind of like tune the DM out. The DM is there to help you as well as the quest text, in my opinion.
Even if you turn the text off your general chat tab, you can make a new chat tab with just DM text, which I usually recommend anyways. There's a lot of different areas where the DM text will give you helpful hints and advice.
But overall, I think they did a good job. I'm happy with it. We'll see once I get more, into it and do the rest of the quests. We'll see if my opinion changes. But so far, I'm pretty happy with it, and I'm enjoying it.
All right, then. After going to Ravenloft, have any of us been jumping on, getting ready for the Festivult?
I have not, because I have not been in Eberron at all. I've been in Barovia the whole time. So yes.
Yeah, it does make it difficult to Festivult if you spend all your time in
That is true. Don't go to Forgotten Realms or don't go to Barovia if you want Festival Vault coins, because they don't drop. They only drop in Eberron, and that is for lore reasons, if you did not know. Festivalt is in Eberron holiday. But yes, the Festival Jester is back. Find him, and he will trade your coins for the ever-popular cookies. And I know Cordovan on his, I think it was the weekly Wednesday live stream, did say that there are no new cookies this year, but some of the effects that the cookies grant have been changed.
Oh, that's nothing new.
So
I do see one post on the forums that says, not again. I hate this time of year in Stormreach. He's going to spend his time in the realms, I guess.
I guess, yeah, exactly.
Or in Barovia.
Exactly. Going to say, go play in Ravenloft for the month if you don't want to see it. And I don't get that because, it's not like it's something you have to do. It's just coins drop. So what's there to hate? I mean, I don't understand it. I mean, I could see if it would be like, okay, like the Mimic hunt. Okay, that's a little different because then you have to participate in it, because if you open, a chest, it could be a Mimic. Well, you could get the Mimic repellent to turn that off, but, still, it's like, this is just something for fun. It just happens as you're playing. So I don't get why you want to hate it, but okay.
Inventory hassle.
Oh, yeah, inventory hassle.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, but yeah, that would be, that makes sense. But anyway, save those coins, turn them in, get cookies, have fun. It's Festivult.
It's Festivult. Then let's head over into the DDO Chronicle, issue number 263, where this looks a little bit Ravenloft-ish on the top cover.
It is. I'm trying to think of which quest that's in, but I don't know off the top of my head. It's definitely Ravenloft because it's all misty.
It's all misty. Well, there is that.
It's always misty. In the community spotlights of our Chronicle, don't forget the fan-sponsored Ravenloft trailer contest Yeah, words are hard. Is running through December 20th. So as of this recording, you will have 2 days to get your entry in. If you are listening to this when the podcast drops on Wednesday, hey, today is your day. So if you're listening to this and you want to enter this, you best do it if you're listening to it on the day it comes out on Wednesday. And then there are several entries now. There is one by Amy Lee 4000. That was amazing. If you enjoy David Lynch movies, you will enjoy the trailer.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah, it has a very David Lynch feel to the trailer. She did an amazing job on it. So check that out. Check out the rest of the entries and get it in. Because, like we have talked about before, this contest is pretty sweet. And if you win, you're going to get a boatload of points. 23,000 DDO points.
Yikes!
That's a lot of points to spend. So, yeah, there you go. So that, once again, running through December 20th, you can enter that. And that is the fan-sponsored Ravenloft trailer contest over on the forums. And then Mellycat has created a graphic to help you figure out a particular challenge in the new raid. So click over and check that out. I have to ask Patrick about that later when we talk about the raid. He will know exactly what that's about. I looked at it and I was all sorts of confused. But of course I haven't done the raid yet, so.
I might not. I didn't read it.
And then over in our Chronicle, we do have our fan site news section, of course. And DDOcast had their latest episode where they were talking about past lives. Click over and give that a watch or a listen. And don't forget, the 500th episode is coming up soon for DDOcast.
What?
500 episodes. That is amazing, Patrick.
Is it a lot?
I think it's 1,000 or something like that.
You are so humble. Is that a lot? So, but I mean, I realize you haven't done all 500, but you've done a good chunk of those. So, congrats on it.
The 500th episode will be officially my 200th producing, but I think I've had other people host like 4 or 5 of the episodes in there. So, but I think at this point I've hosted more shows than any of the other hosts.
That's awesome. That is amazing. So we'll talk about that later on in the show as well. Alex gave his first impressions on Ravenloft, so click over and check out his latest video. Even Note is getting lost in the market barracks for a particularly unusual quest experience. Click over and see what Even Note was up to. And Sip over on his blog is talking about the greatest show in Eberron. I have an idea what that is, but I won't spoil it. Go read the blog. And City Plays DDO is blogging about Delara's Tomb. And Gaming SF is writing about questing in Ravenloft. So lots of Ravenloft things in the Chronicle this week, which makes sense. And speaking of Ravenloft, the official screenshot of the week is Ravenlofty as well. Weasley the Wicked, which is an awesome name, hides in the mist of Barovia by 2 weeping angels in the 346th DDO screenshot of the week. So check that screenshot out. That is a great little indication of what you're going to be seeing a lot when you're running around Ravenloft and Barovia.
Oh, you just scared me even more when you called them weeping angels.
Weeping angels. Well, that's if you look at the res in the restaurant, I mean, they're weeping angels. That's like the first thing I thought.
Well, you don't want to turn your back on them then.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, crap, don't blink. Doctor Who jokes. I love it. And then we have our Chronicle comment of the week. What is the best room in Castle Ravenloft?
You mean in the castle itself?
Yes.
Let's see. Trouble is, I haven't been in there enough times in which to form a favorite room.
You've been lost, spoiler alert.
Yeah, I have been lost in there. When you're lost, you're you don't think about which room is your favorite.
You don't have to think about which room is your favorite very hard. The treasure room, of course.
See, I particularly enjoyed the dining room because that pipe organ is pretty freaking sweet. Plus, that's the first time you get to meet Strahd, and I was just like, hey, look, it's Strahd. That's awesome.
Well, yes, I guess there is the pipe organ in there. I do wonder where he's hiding the rest of the pipes for that organ, but that doesn't matter.
You did comment on that.
Yeah, I did comment on that, where it looked like that it seemed like it didn't have quite enough pipes for a full organ. But I'm sure he has them hidden all over in the room, or maybe all over the castle, knowing Strahd. And I would say, for sheer neatness, is even though in some ways this is my least favorite room, but I guess in other ways it's my favorite, and that is the very top of the North Tower where you have this heart beating almost.
Yeah, that is a pretty cool area. I agree with there too.
It is kind of fun if you depending on which way you go out of the castle, you can actually get out on the top and kind of get out on the battlements, which is pretty neat.
And jump off the top.
You can do that too.
Awesome to jump off the top.
It sounds like that will make you go splat.
I mean, if you don't have Featherfall.
Well, yeah, I gotta say, if you don't have Featherfall, you're screwed.
Yeah.
I don't suggest it if you don't have Featherfall.
Okay.
And that's it for our Karatical this week.
Then let's see what is on sale. Some feather falling boots, perhaps?
No, sorry. But there is some good stuff on sale this week, though. 25% off select Hearts of Wood healing items, spell point potions, and quest XP elixirs. And then don't forget the December deals are going. This is week number 3 of those. You will get 75% off Veteran Status 2. 50% off Demon Sands and the Greater Learning Tomes, and 35% off select cosmetic headwear. That is the week 3 December deals, and we do have our free sample of the week, which is a lasting potion of jumping. Will give you plus 20 to your jump when you use the coupon code JUMP, J-U-M-P, and that code is good through December the 21st.
And a new shared storage is available. Shared storage number 19? You mean that you get our 19 of those available?
That's a lot of shared storage.
It's nice.
Yeah, I know. There was a lot of people that were excited when they saw that. And I saw on the forums and on Twitter, people were like, oh, I just bought no more shared storage. I need number 20 now.
I mean, it depends on what you're storing in there, so...
Well, true.
I kind of tend to store a lot of consumables in there to pass them around, or like ones that I don't need on a certain character kind of a thing.
I suppose so.
I think it's full.
All right. Now let's have a little conversation with Patrick from DDOCast, and I think we want to talk, of course, a few things about Castle Ravenloft first, and our first question is, what do you got to say about the raid? The first raid, obviously, since the second one's not out yet.
It's actually surprisingly pretty simple. It's not too complicated, but I like that it really emphasizes coordination more than anything else. None of the parts in and of themselves are too difficult, but they really rely on you to be coordinated and kill things together, or you have to find. There's a section where you have to find certain things and then hit them in order. So it really emphasizes a coordination aspect that I kind of appreciate, which I always kind of prefer as a challenge for raids as opposed to just everything hits harder.
How is the difficulty level, you think, of the raid? Is it about where it should be, or do you think it should be a little harder, a little easier?
I think it's comparable to what other raids are, so I don't think you're going to find anything necessarily drastically different than what you might expect if you run other raids and are familiar with other raids. But
how about the loot? What do you think about the loot that drops out of there? Worth it?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of really nice things in it, and it seems to drop at a pretty decent clip. So again, it's all, the drop rate seems to be pretty comparable to what you'd expect from other raided. Well, I guess raids have a pretty large difference in depending on the time of how often things drop, but it's pretty comparable to what we've been getting. more recently.
How about the timing on how long it takes? I realize probably the first time you go in there, it's going to take you longer because you're learning it. And then, runs after that would be less. Do you think the time on it's about right, or should it be a little longer, shorter?
Well, that's kind of hard to say because you kind of want a variety, right?
Right, yeah.
I tend to think a generally shorter raid is, we don't want all the raids to be 2 hours long, right? I don't know if we want any raid to really be 2 hours long. That's just a long time to spend doing one quest, and if you're trying to get 12 people together to do it, that can be difficult. We've been doing normal on 20 to 30 minutes, usually more in the 30-minute range, mostly because there's you need a little bit of time to kind of organize yourselves, and there's some chance involved. There's a phase where you have to find 5 cards, and then you have to use them in the correct order. So it kind of depends a little bit on how fast can you find them and get organized in that regards. So there's a little bit of a variance there. But we did a 9-man hard run, and like the third day it was out in about 50 minutes. So I think as long as you have some decent coordination, it really shouldn't take you too long to do. If you can't coordinate, you could be in certain areas forever and ever and ever very easily.
Gotcha, yeah. I'm just sad because by the time I'm going to be of a level, it's like a raid that nobody is going to run, so I'll probably never get to do it. I'm very sad.
I don't know if that's going to be necessarily true, but yeah, we'll see how long the lifespan... The lifespan of the raid generally has more to do when the next one comes out than anything else.
Which
the fact that they...
about 3 days?
Well, okay, that's a little different. But the thing about the way they did it now is, you have to use a legendary raid bypass timer, which does limit a little bit how many people are using raid timers, which does help with how long a raid will last. But yeah, there's certainly some concern, just having bypass timers in general really kind of breaks the chain of generations of running the raid. So that can be kind of a problem and has been for a while, ever since they really came out with raid bypass timers in the first place. So that's not really anything new or unique to these raids.
I wonder if that was their thought process and behind in making it legendary only, because I was really expecting
sort of. Or are you talking about the why the raid is legendary?
The raid,
only?
yeah.
I don't think so. I think they probably. It doesn't. I don't know that it necessarily makes sense to have you beat Strahd at that level.
Well, yeah, I guess I didn't think about that when. Yeah, that does make sense because because if you're talking about the Curse of Strahd book or whatever, it says, your players might want to take on Strahd, but stress to them that unless they are level, I want to say I think it's 13 or 14. It's been a while since I ran Curse of Strahd, but stress to them, if they're not this level, they are not going to do it, and they shouldn't even attempt it. They will die. So that makes sense that it would be level capped in that aspect, I guess.
Well, the other thing is they did this with the last one, the one where riding the storm out. They did that. They did this with that one too, because you had the 2 quests that you could run on heroic, but you can only run the raid at epic level or legendary level. And it probably has more to do with their perception of group dynamics. And I don't think that they're wrong in that it's a lot harder to find a group for a heroic raid because you have people don't tend to sit around at those levels. So it's, if you're going to do a raid and you're going to have the level be in I guess it would probably be around the 15, 16 range, you just don't have people that are going to be at that level range very long. People in heroics are generally not there to raid. Raiding is kind of more of an end game thing.
It's, like I said, it's just sad to me because, I'm like this huge Ravenloft fan. I've been looking forward to Ravenloft forever. And then I find out I can't actually go take on Strahd because I'm not high enough level, and it's going to be forever till I'm that high enough level. So it's like...
Not entirely true, because you can fight Strahd. There are a few places...
Well, yeah,
where you do fight Strahd. But yeah, you can do the raid's going to be a little harder.
I was excited when I actually, you actually got to fight Strahd, and invitation to dinner quest. So that was cool. And he, taunts you and he shows up. So, but I was just like, I want to like try to kill him. I want to do that. And then I'm like, oh, I can't because I'm a low level. But it's all right. So how about Sentient Weapons? Let's transition to that. Have you experimented with them a lot? What are your thoughts on the weapon system?
I think the system is pretty well designed. You don't really need to do a lot of experimentation. It's pretty straightforward. It's pretty easy to use. It all tells you what to do, or at least what the things do. So that's really nice. I think the system is pretty simplistic. I like how you're using old or other named gear to power it, which I think is a kind of a great way to get people to be using and running other content. Because there's some places where it's a lot easier to get named gear than others. So I kind of like that aspect. I'm a little bummed that it's all kind of in like the gems, the jewels that actually give the sentience are only in Ravenloft, which is a little bit of a bummer. But as far as like the mechanics go, I think I mostly like the mechanics. The flavor is kind of fun. I think the thing that I noticed pretty quick though is it's kind of neat that they talk to you, but then there's not that many cues.
Yeah,
right?
I've heard that from several people, and I've seen that on the forums as well. That's, I think, people's biggest complaint about it.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that you just kind of got to accept it because it's never going to be what you really want it to be, right? If you probably kind of want that fun, hey, this weapon's going to talk to me and do whatever personality you have. And you're just going to say, like, any one of, it's going to say, like, 300 things, something for every scenario. And that's just, that's never going to happen, right?
Well, yeah, because, you're talking video games and there's limitations on all that. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So that's never going to be a thing. And that it kind of takes a little bit of the fun away from it. But that, having said that, it's not like they're terrible or anything. It's they're really fun for the first, couple of quests you run, and then you get to a certain spot and it's like, oh, I wish they did a little bit more.
Yeah. And you can turn the voices off if you finally get fed up with it or whatever. You can turn that on if you want to. Because I know that was another thing people were saying. I'm getting tired of hearing the same things over and over again. So they did give you the option to turn it off. I would like to see them maybe in the future add some new voices to the weapon somehow. I don't know how easy or hard that would be for them to do, to have their voice actors, just record some more stuff, and maybe it would be like another gem you could slot in or whatever that would add more sayings. That would be nice if they could do in the future.
Well, adding more personalities would be the easy part. Adding more things for them to say would be the harder part.
Yeah, that's...
Because you have to get the voice actors back to have them say those things as well. It's probably more coding. I think they call them hook points or something like that. All
right, so let's move from that into DDOCast. We did talk about it a little bit during the Chronicle, but episode 500 is coming up. Is it going to be this week or next week when you plan on doing that? Or
it should be this weekend. I haven't announced it yet, mostly because I was kind of trying to figure out when it was going to be. And funny thing, 500 comes a lot faster than you might think it does. Because I'm staring at it in the face and haven't really figured out what that's going to look like yet.
Because, 500, that's a big deal. I'm just trying to think if there's any other podcast that I listen to that has reached 500 episodes.
You'd think it's like, well, you had 500 or 499 episodes to figure out what you're going to do for episode 500, and now you're at 500, and like, you don't know what you're going to do for 500. What do you mean? You had all this time to... Well, yeah, but I was preparing we had to prepare those other 499
episodes, exactly, that's right.
Yes. So it's not like...
Exactly it.
And I kind of go through, a little pulling back the curtain a little bit, I kind of tend to go through phases where every couple of, like maybe once a month or every other month, I'll kind of sit down and say, okay, what does the next several shows look like? And I did that back, probably in late October the last time. I was like, okay, 500. I don't know what I'm going to do for 500. It needs to be big. It needs to be or it doesn't need to be big, but, it needs to be, hey, it's 500. It needs to be something cool, right? I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll come up with something. And now it's less than a week away, and I still haven't come up with anything. So, that's how it goes sometimes, I suppose.
And how about DDOCast Splat? Is that going to come back in the new year?
That's the plan, yeah. We've kind of we threw a few things around before we kind of took a break. December's kind of a busy month. I spent a lot of time in Kingdom of Sweets, if you know what I'm talking about. So it's not really a good time for me to have a lot of extra stuff on my plate anyways. And it's the holidays, so, people are kind of traveling and coming and going, and kind of figured, hey, let's take a couple months off. We've been doing this for probably, I think we did it since June, so we probably had been going for 4 or 5 months at the time. It was just time to take a break and kind of wait a little bit. So,
all right. Is there anything else you want to talk about DDOcast-wise or Ravenloft-wise? Anything?
Well, DDOcast-wise, there are... stay tuned. Follow me on Twitter. Watch out on the forums. There will be giveaways for episode 500. And, I'll kind of tease it and say our last show, I made the comment that Ravenloft is awesome. You have 2 choices, either buy it now or wait till you can get it for points. I said for free, but I really meant for points in March, and suffer us talking about how awesome it is until that time. There's actually another option that will be forthcoming soon on how you might be able to be lucky enough to get to play Ravenloft before March if you don't have it yet.
Such a tease.
I know, right? I mean, you don't have to read between the lines very hard, but...
Exactly. Whatever do you mean?
Yeah, right? But I got some stuff to give away. Standing Stone Games was kind enough to say, hey, 500 is pretty cool. Let's here's some stuff to help you celebrate. So that's pretty cool, and we really appreciate when they do stuff like that. Other stuff that's kind of in the works, I guess I can kind of tease this too a little bit. There's going to be a bit of a change in format for DDOcast coming after episode 500, which I'll talk about more on that show. You shouldn't really notice a whole lot of change in content, but how it happens is going to be a little different. And part of that is to try to make the episodes a little shorter. I managed to whittle the show down to about an hour and a half. But I was always kind of trying to aim for a little bit lower, and that never happened. So we're going to kind of do some stuff to make it try to make it a little bit shorter of a show every week and kind of break some stuff up. As far as kind of things that we're looking to talk about, we're going to have a review for Ravenloft, kind of more in-depth coming up. And we're looking at getting another Ask the Devs, kind of a post-Ravenloft Ask the Devs, what kind of their experience was with it, and that kind of stuff. So that's kind of what's coming up in that range.
All right. Well, you were discussing about podcasts with over 500 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I did find out that the latest episode for the Dice Tower was 533, so they're only slightly ahead of DDOcast.
I forgot about the Dice Tower, yeah. Like I said, there's not too many podcasts that actually have made it to 500 episodes. So that is a pretty big freaking deal, actually, in if you produce a podcast or host or on a podcast every week. 500 episodes is pretty amazing.
I mean, we kind of cheated a little bit because in some ways there's really 3 podcasts kind of all under the one umbrella because, we had different people producing the show. So that's kind of the hard part about having a podcast go that long because, 500 episodes is, you're essentially talking about 5 years.
Right.
So that's a long time to be having a podcast. That's assuming
that's about
you're
10
weekly,
years
right?
more likely.
And
Did I say 5? 10. It's 10 years because, assume you're going to miss 2 at a time, 2 weeks in a year ish, right?
Yeah.
So,
and then, that brings up the fact too that, that the show has continued through 3 hosts and producers, and it's still around, which is another amazing fact in podcasts. Because usually when the whole crew will say leaves and new people take over, it usually falls apart after that. So it was amazing that you guys could work it out to where, after, Jerry had to leave because when he went to, then Turbine, he had to quit it. It continued, and then when you took it over, it continued, and it's awesome.
Well, see, what you need is a regeneration scene out of Doctor Who, since that changed its producers and purged people quite a lot also. Then, anything else you wish to add before we head off and see what's in the dungeon?
As far as Ravenloft, I'd recommend getting it. I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun.
Yes, and I'm doing a YouTube series on this where I am, of course, seeing how well I can get a paladin through Ravenloft. So I'm only in the early stages of that. So we'll see how long it takes before I get smacked in the face completely.
My tips for getting through Ravenloft are read, eat beforehand.
Eat beforehand?
Yeah. Figure out what the quest storyline is for Death House and Fresh Baked Pies, and you'll understand.
Okay. That's what you meant by eat. I was thinking, because I'm used to Lotro, where you do have character food that actually is effective while you're out in the field. That I'm trying to think. Well, where's eating in DDO that's effective outside of a bar? Let's now head on and see what is coming in from the dungeon. And the One Ring RPG bundle is up on Bundle of Holding.
And if you are interested in the One Ring RPG, this is for you. You need to jump on this now. They have 2 bundles up that is just stupid cheap. Stupid cheap. You can get all the books that you need for... The original bundle is just the One Ring bundle. It is $14.95, and that comes with 4. Let's see, 1, 2, 3. That comes with 4 different books, and that is a value of $84. And then that is a value of $129. Sorry about that. Yeah, and then they have the One Ring Bundle 2, which gives you more books, and that is also $14.95 as well. So for about $30, you can get just about every book that is available for the One Ring RPG in PDF form, of course, because you're downloading from Bundle Holding. So for $30, you can jump in on the One Ring RPG, which is an amazing RPG. But note, this is the One Ring RPG. It's not Adventures of Middle-earth, which is the 5e, but the Adventures of Middle-earth has been taking all of the books and everything from the One Ring, and they have been converting them over into the 5e format, which you can do yourself fairly easy, because I have some of these books, and I've looked at them. It would be fairly easy to convert this stuff. So if there's something in this bundle that you would like to run in Adventures of Middle-earth 5e, it would be fairly easy for you to convert it yourself if it actually hasn't been officially converted yet. But check this out. It's up now, as we said, on Bundle of Holding. I have linked them over in the show notes and on DDOplayers.com. As of this recording, you have 16 days to jump in on both bundles. So still plenty of time if you want to get in on these bundles. It's a great deal.
Then also let's look what's coming in from WizKids. I heard that they are summoning a purple worm.
They are not just a purple worm. There is an let's try that again.
An ogre mage. But the ogre mage is what is summoning the purple worm, I thought.
That's very true. But of course, the one that everybody wants, the Demigorgon.
Yikes!
If you don't have a Demigorgon mini, now is your chance. Also, it comes with an orc, a troll, an orc archer, a Sahagwan mystic, an owlbear, and just a plain Sahagwan.
Oh, he's not Sawaji?
I was going to make that joke, but I decided not to. So thank you.
Now don't start that again.
For doing it. That's right. I'm going to have to put in the Will Wheaton soundbite right here. Note to self when I produce the show, ad will read here.
This is a Dwarven translation of an Elvish word. So it is pronounced Sawajin.
But yes, this mini set will be available at your friendly local game stores and now also online, anywhere you can get stuff online like Amazon, Cool Mini or Not, not Cool Mini or Not, Cool Stuff Inc. Anywhere like that, it'll be available soon. I know Amazon is saying it's on pre-order, but Cool Stuff Inc. has it in stock, so I'm assuming Amazon should have it in stock soon. And it's $74.99 for the set of pretty sweet-looking little minis. And it is the Icons of the Realm classic creatures. But it's a Demigorgon. Everybody wants a Demigorgon miniature, especially if you're a fan of Stranger Things.
I still haven't watched that.
What are you doing with your... You need to watch that. It's amazing.
Playing DDO, playing 7 Days to Die.
True.
Watching other shows. There's only so much time.
Yeah, exactly. So many shows, so many games.
Working some more.
Yes. Then let's head on and see what's on the tabletop. And we talked last week about Lord of the Rings Living Card Game coming to Steam, and now they announced the next deluxe expansion that is coming for the physical card game.
That's right. The Wilds of Rovanian is coming in the Wilds Deluxe expansion. You're going to take your first steps into a new adventure, and it is going to stretch all through the lands of Rovanian. So you will have the Vales of the Anduin and the Mirkwood Forest included. This is coming with 102 encounter cards, 39 new player cards, and you can also check out the art that I put some samples of the cards up over on the post, and it looks like they have some pretty sweet art. They have the Merchants of Dale, so it sounds like you can actually go to Dale too. If you're a Tolkien fan, you're going to be excited for this.
Oh boy, it's amazing. We're getting to go to Dale in the Lord of the Rings, the card game, and in the next major update for Lotro, they're also heading for Dale.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Yeah.
They must have been talking to Fantasy Flight.
Right, and Northern Mirkwood. So yes, it sounds like they're both doing Rovanian updates.
And then this is a deluxe expansion, so of course you have to have the base card game to play this. This will be available the first quarter of 2018. It's going to have a MSRP of $29.99. You can pre-order it at your friendly local game store via Fantasy Flights or via Amazon.
Can I just say that anytime a game starts with take your first steps and let someone else step in first?
That's right.
I mean, just a little bit of metagaming there, but...
It's true.
Well,
You never want to be first. It's true.
You don't want to be the first one, especially if the area is orc infested, spider infested, and also
I guess completely empty, and I still don't want to go first.
And Restoration Games has announced an expansion for Downforce.
And we just did a review of Downforce a couple weeks ago. If you're not familiar with it, Downforce, of course, is the racing game from Restoration Games, and they have announced they have an expansion coming out. It is entitled The Danger Circuit, and it's going to include a two-sided, full-sided, six-fold new map. It's going to have 2 new racetracks, and also is going to give you 6 new player powers. This is coming out sometime summer of 2018. Didn't announce the exact dates. They said more details are to come. But the MSRP on it is $19.95, which is, I think, a good sweet spot for Downforce, and I think it is going to bring a lot to the game. You can check out our review. I've linked it in the show notes and over on DDOplayers.com if you missed our review of this. But pretty exciting Danger Circuit expansion coming to Downforce.
Then let's go on and see what is on the screen. And the first item is that an old classic movie, The Dark Crystal, is heading back to the theaters for 2 nights only.
And all I can say is after I got this press release and I put up this article, I thought, damn, I'm old. This movie came out 35 years ago. And I can remember when this movie came out, so I'm like, dang.
What, only 35 years ago?
Yeah. See, I
thought it was more than that.
No, it's been 35 years for The Dark Crystal. It came out in 1982.
Okay, I guess I had always thought that was in the late childhood or teens realm rather than later than that.
So, but yeah, you can check us out in theaters, as we said, for 2 days only. And that is going to be Sunday, February the 25th, and Wednesday, February the 28th. This is going to be a newly restored 4K version of the movie. That is going to be in some select theaters are actually going to show the 4K version. If your theater is not showing the 4K version, you're just going to get the newly restored version. And check it out, as I said, February the 25th, which is a Sunday, or Wednesday, February the 28th. You can head over to the Fathom Events website to purchase your tickets starting on Friday, January the 12th. And then after the movie is out in the theaters for 2 days, there's going to be a Blu-ray and digital release coming out on March the 6th. So if you can't see it in the theaters, you can watch it at home with the newly restored version coming March 6th. But check out the Fathom Events website, which I have linked. If you want to go, check out The Dark Crystal. And I got to see if there's a theater near me that is going to show this because I love this movie, and it would be cool to see it in the theater again. And
It's been a while since I've seen that one.
I'm old, Pineleaf. Wow, you've actually seen it? Whoa, stop the presses. We've actually found a movie Pineleaf has seen. That's impressive. I figured for sure you were going to be like, I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
No, I saw that when it first came out.
You blew my mind, Pineleaf.
And we also have that the Sword Coast of Legends is going to be soon nothing but a legend.
Ooh, nice segue, Pineleaf. I'm impressed. Yes, Sword Coast Legends, the game that did not live up to hype. I was trying to think of a nice way to put it because I really wanted to say something else, but I didn't want to say it. So yeah, game had so much potential, fell short, so much that the studio that created it went away. They closed down after it was released. So if you haven't jumped in on Sword Coast Legends yet and you want to, you best do it quickly. Right now it is 67% off. So you can get it pretty darn cheap. It is $6.59 on Steam right now. And you have till the end of December to pick it up. It's going to be your last chance because it will never be around again after that. And they did say that the multiplayer servers will remain live indefinitely, which I'm kind of impressed with that aspect of it because I figured for sure they would shut down the multiplayer servers as well. And I'm hoping what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of people are going to buy the game since it's $7 now, basically. And then there's going to be a modding community that jumps in and maybe we'll get some new life into the multiplayer aspect of it, even though the DM tools aren't that great and aren't what they said they were going to be. I'm hoping this will breathe new life into it. But in my opinion, $7 is well worth it just for the solo story mode of it. It had a really amazing D&D type story to it. It was a good game. Just the multiplayer aspect and the dungeon tools were, like I said, it didn't live up to the hype. We were promised a lot more than what was actually delivered. But fun game, amazing story, well worth $7 just to play the story through once, in my opinion.
Then let's head into our week in gaming. And what were you up to, Drac? Were you playing lots of Sword Coast Legends?
I thought about reinstalling it, but I didn't. I should. No, I kind of had like a weird week, so I didn't really do a lot of gaming this week. I had like a bunch of real life stuff happen to me, but I did do actually the only DDO I managed to play this week was what I played with you, so I'll let you talk about that. Did play a couple other games though. Jump back into Tales from Candlekeep Tomb of Annihilation. Haven't played that for a while, and my God, is that game hard. Holy cow, as you progress through that game, it just gets brutal. Still loving the game though, but spoiler alert, it's hard. And then I got a press release from Funcom that they announced the release date for Conan Exiles, and then I remembered, oh yeah, I have to do a review of that. So I reinstalled, I played that again. I didn't say reinstalled. Funcom. Funcom, if you're listening, I didn't just say that. No, so I reinstalled that and jumped back in and played that for a little bit so I can review that, because that one kind of skipped my mind that I had to review. And then also played, as I was reinstalling Conan, I noticed, hey, I haven't played Darkest Dungeons in like forever. So I played that a little bit too. That is such a fun game, but wow, that game is so hard too. But of course, that game is designed to be hard. But fun game if you like basically dungeon crawls and dying a lot. Darkest Dungeons is your game. And then only other thing gaming-wise I did is in 7 Days to Die, we did round number 3 of our permadeath game that we are doing. We wiped the server, set up a brand new server, and we jumped back in. But this time we decided to do something a little different.
It was a great idea, too.
It was. It was an amazing idea. The idea was we were going to do random teams. So when everybody...
With random skills.
Yes. Everybody, when you zoned into the game for the first time, you would pick your skills. You wouldn't tell anybody what your skills were. You would not know. And then we would determine the teams by the people that were all spawned like towards the north section of the map and the people that were spawned towards the south section of the map were going to be a team. And we have the same teams. What are the odds? Good idea. What are the odds of that's how we spawned? But yeah, it was a great idea. And then we were like, this is kind of funny. We have the very same teams. So we'll see what happens. We did kind of ramp up the difficulty a little bit. We don't have zombies running in the day anymore, though. But we decided on our seventh day Horde Night, we are going to have... I don't know if we came up with the exact number yet, because I know the number of zombies per person we were talking about, I'm pretty sure we've tried before. It like crashed out the server. It was like basically a slideshow when you were trying to play it, so we might have to tone it down. But we're pretty much thinking either probably about 16 zombies per person are going to spawn. So Horde Night's going to be fun.
The idea was to have... We're also not doing permadeath until day 7. So the idea is that you have time to prepare, and then it's really about the Horde Night and being ready for Horde Night.
Which I'm glad we're not doing permadeath until day 7, because we actually had a death.
It's true.
But that's because we found out that you can turn friendly fire on or off, and we always have it off. And for some reason, the friendly fire option was on, and I might have killed Saba. Maybe. Maybe. She says I did. I don't actually think I did, but yeah. So we had a friendly fire death.
Let's just say for the sake of argument that you did, because it's probably easier that way.
Yeah, well, I'm pretty sure I did, actually. So, yeah. So, but that is now corrected. And so we are ready to go. We're just trying to find out the day that works for all of us. And we'll jump in. But I can honestly say I, at first, was not too excited about doing this whole permadeath thing. I'm like, I don't want to do this. But it's really super fun. It has really breathed new life into the game for me because the game was getting a little stale for me. I mean, I'll just be honest. And this is just like, it is so fun, and I like that you actually have to work with your team. You have to like devise a plan and hope that everybody sticks to the plan and everybody can do their part, because you really have to be a team to make it work if you're going to survive. And then it's fun when one of you dies, then it's up to the other teammates to pick up the slack of the person that died. So it's really fun. So I suggest that if you're playing 7 Days to Die, try this if you have a group of friends you can play with. I think you will enjoy it immensely. I know I am, and I think pretty much everybody is. So, and that's really all I had time to do in gaming this week. So what about you, Pineleaf?
We'll begin with the Mists of Ravenloft with my Paladin. I was going in there with the YouTube series. I went into the Mists and I ran Death House, so therefore the first 2 dungeons there. I currently have things on a schedule for 2 episodes a week. I managed to get those into a single episode each. Next, of course, is going to be going into the... I always get the pie quest name wrong. I know I used it earlier.
Baked Dreams.
Yes, Fresh Baked Dreams. Yes, the Dream Pies one. So I'll be doing that then. Don't know if that's going to be a 1 or 2 episode one, but that'll be what's coming up next. But I did Into the Mist and Death House on that and managed to get through that pretty well. Then with you, we also went to the Mists of Ravenloft, where we had our new characters go in, our fresh 10th level veteran status specials, so to speak. And there I was on a druid, and you were on a ranger, I believe.
Shocking. Yeah, ranger.
I know, shocking. So, of course, we did the early stuff, Into the Mist, Death House, and Fresh Baked Dreams. And look, it's written here right on my sheet here.
Going to say you got it right. Oh, it's because it's written there.
Yes. And then we went into Invitation to Dinner. I think we had about 40 minutes left of the session. I said, okay,
like
very...
That.
What?
Yeah, I think it was something like that. And you said, well, it says this is very long. And I'm like, we have 40 minutes left. We can do this quest.
Yeah, right.
Well, we could have.
I'm not too sure of, because I think even before we discovered something wrong, I think. Because what we did, I think, took us till about 11, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, that's an extra hour on top of it.
We ended up in that quest for about an hour and 35 minutes, maybe. Something like that. It bugged out. If you are familiar with the quest, which I think by now everybody that listens to the show probably has ran the quest. If not, I will give the spoiler alert tag here. So if you don't want to know, tune out for about 3 minutes. In Invitation to Dinner, that's the first time you go into Castle Ravenloft, and you run into Madame Ava at the start of it, and she reads your fortune with her Tarot deck, and she gives you 3 cards. And those correlate to 3 different places in the castle that you have to go and either find something or do something. So we didn't have any problems with the first 2 cards. And you can do them in any order you want, but we just did them in order for some reason. But anyway, we didn't have any problems with the first 2, but then we got to the 3rd one. And that was to find the Icon of Ravenloft in the North Tower. It was not in the North Tower. We looked everywhere.
Up and down, left, right, all the way through the woods.
I even went, above and below, because I know there was one, I can't remember what room it was in when I ran it before. It said it was somewhere, and it was actually the floor below it is where the item actually was. So I thought, well, maybe that's the case. I looked there. No, it was just nowhere. So I don't know what happened, but it was just frustrating beyond all. It was just bad.
I'm sure that we'll get 20 posts telling us where exactly it was with the card that they're assuming that we had.
Maybe, probably. I don't know.
Transmuter, I think it was.
I think so. Yeah, I think that's what it was. But yeah, and like I said, I ran this quest several times, and this is the first time I've ever had to go to the North Tower. So I'll be interested to see if I actually pull that card again, and it's in the North Tower, if it bugs out again, or if it's just like we were just totally stupid and we were like missing it. But I don't think we were, because like I said, I ran the quest enough. I know what the icon looks like, and I know what to look for, and it was nowhere. So hopefully it won't bug on us Wednesday when we try it again.
We should hope. And then in Minecraft, I found a spider spawner near the Earth Temple, and I decided, all right, I want to turn this into a string farm. And it so happened when I was starting to think about what I want to do with it, I happened to see a video by Zumavoid where he was creating a quadruple spider farm. All right, fine. And I looked at that, and I don't think I did anything that was exactly like what he did, but all the little bitty ideas he gave me how to best handle this, because I never thought that you could just create a big pit over the spawner and that they could just fall directly to their death, because I assumed that, well, there has to be a floor in there somewhere near the spawning point, right? No, if you want the floor to be 20 feet below 20 meters below the spawner, yeah, you could do that and watch all these spiders go splot, 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 splot. So therefore, I created that. That seemed to be working pretty well, except for the fact that you sometimes have skeletons riding spiders. So what do I do about the skeletons? Because the skeletons were surviving the fall. So after that, then I took the stone and replaced it with the lava block. So now all the skeletons go whack and go boom, 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 boom. So therefore they all die. But of course now I got to collect all this stuff. So therefore I actually built a rail system beneath the lava cubes. Now I've seen YouTubers do this all the time, of putting these fancy rail systems with a hopper cart below that to collect items. And I've always thought that that would be an overly complicated, impossible thing to do. But I managed to, in less than half a day, to be able to go from having just a newly found spider spawner to having a completely run and operating spider string farm that is giving you pretty good results in that short amount of time. So therefore, thank you, Zimavoid, for helping me figure out the best way of handling this. Now, concerning the question about why in the world do I want all this string? And that's because I needed a source of wool, and I live on a taiga thing, which of course, if I go around looking for sheep, I wind up finding wolves instead, and since wolves like to eat sheep, my chances of getting a good sheep farm are just about nil. So therefore, what I decided to do was to use the spider farm, and spider farm will give me wool, and I'm going to use the wool to make banners, so I can place banners all throughout the temple and use them as for decoration throughout the temple, because it is my goal to finish this temple by the end of this year, and we are getting pretty close to the end of the year. In fact, I'm posting an episode tonight, and my last scheduled episode for the year then is coming next week. So therefore, I've got one more episode unless I throw in an extra one.
I was going to say, you're running out of time.
Yeah, I am running out of time, but I got pretty much a great deal of it being done on it. And I'm starting to come up with some ideas what to do with some of the rooms. For example, you know the room where you have those 3 rooms in a row, starting out with the gargoyle room, followed by this slightly smaller room, and then slightly smaller room after that?
Yep.
Yes, I was thinking, well, what can I do with this particular one? And then I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have these 3 rows in a row, each one having one of the 3 ingredients to pumpkin pie. And so therefore, in the first room you go into, I turned the sides of it into a pumpkin farm. The next room after that turned into a sugarcane farm. And then the room after that, I've got a chicken farm, so therefore I have these chickens laying eggs. So therefore, if I want some pumpkin pie, just go into those 3 rooms, collect the ingredients, and I have my pie. I know, Minecraft stuff.
It's like always over my head. I'm like,
Yes.
I'm like, you're doing what? You're spider farm? You're making pie? What are you doing now?
Yeah, that's right. So that was a busy weekend with Minecraft. So Patrick, what were you up to?
Mostly playing Ravenloft, flagging different characters, running the raid a couple times. So just kind of I don't want to say grinding, but kind of cruising through some of those. Trying to get more characters flagged, so I don't have to use timers, and I keep running the raid with people who are my guild and friends that are doing that. We did do 7 Days to Die, which Drac talked a little bit about. We have an awesome base. We're ready to go. Bring it on. We will dance on the graves of the other team.
You're bragging already. I tell you.
My teammate didn't blow me up with a mine this time, so that was nice.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, that hurt. But no, that's pretty much it. In terms, well, I have my pen and paper group that I'm a DM for. They got out of their first dungeon, and they kind of have 2 quest arcs or kind of campaign arcs going right now, and they're kind of learning about the second one, which they don't, or the first one, depending on how you want to think about it. But on one of them, they're kind of becoming more aware of who this cabal of slavers and slave traders is. So they've determined that the drow are involved, and there's some sort of mind controlling creature that's involved that they're not really sure about yet. And at least one of them wants no part of. Probably because I killed him after I took control of his mind already.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And that is 3-5 that you're playing, correct?
Yes, that is 3-5. And it's mostly people who haven't played before. So there's one other guy in the group that's played before, and like everyone else is new. So
those always make the best groups, though, and usually they're really fun when you have like new people like that. At least that's what I found when I've DM'd.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun, and it's a little bit of a learning curve in that you kind of, okay, what do I do now? Like, well, you can do this. Like, okay, which one should I do? Well,
right. Figure it out. It's your character.
So, but having one person who's really familiar with it really helps, because he can kind of guide them, and I don't really have to, or I can just kind of give them basic options. But it's not really all on me to teach them and stuff, so that helps. But it is. I'm also kind of playing. We're kind of playing a higher powered campaign, and we're doing this thing where when they die, they come back to life and get a new ability. So it's actually kind of more fun for me in the sense that like I don't have to pull my punches as much because I generally don't like to kill players. I don't want them to lose their character. I want them to play a character they enjoy, and it's kind of lame to invest in this character and then it dies, and you have to come up with a new one. So. But we'll see how it's been going really well. I've not killed everyone yet. Most of the deaths have kind of been through their own stupidity.
Those are usually the best.
Yeah, I mean the one where the guy tried to follow someone he couldn't mind read, and when they had just read the spell that you can't mind read if someone's this much higher levels than you, should have kind of been a dead giveaway, but they followed them anyways. So that results in death. But the last one, they used poor tactics going into a fight where one guy kind of went into the room and everyone else stayed in the little corridor. And they used Stone Shape to wall off the corridor and isolate the one guy, killed him and looted his body, and ran away.
Wow.
We currently have 19 supporters on Patreon. If you'd like to help support DDO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be guests with us for an episode of DDO Players News. This week, we do not have any comments or any emails. But if you'd like to send us an email, you can send it to podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us on Twitter, the Player Alliance, @PlayersAlly, DDO Players, @DDO Players, Dracula, @Dracula472, and Pineleaf, @PineleafEagles. And you can follow Patrick at DDOCast or at DDOcast.com. The Player Alliance currently has 2 live shows every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. USD time. We have Upload Your Players News, but please note there will not be a show this week due to the Christmas holiday. And every Monday at 8:30 p.m. USD time, we have DDO Players News, which is still going to have a show today. You can join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that's all for tonight. Until next time, this is Pineleaf Fuels reminding you to quest responsibly.